Sombra rework is here. Well, not here. It'll be here on the 10th. But we've got the numbers today, so we're going to talk numbers and just go through the changes.
Found a bug. Try and keep up. In and out like I was never there. EMP activated.
So first things first, damage increased from 7.5 to 8. Now in Overwatch 1, it was 8. And then in Overwatch 2, they gave her the damage boost from hack, which they have removed, but we'll talk about that later. So buff and nerf, buff to not hack targets and shields, nerf to anybody you'd usually hack. So good and bad. Minimum spread reduced 0.5 to 0. Number of shots until max spread has been increased from 3 to 6. So essentially, you're going to shoot where your crosshair is at, no spread, for 6 bullets. So cool at like the first initial 6 bullets, and also more accurate at longer range for that time as well. Which can be really good against like a Widowmaker that you're coming out of stealth and killing. Reload time reduced from 1.4 to 1.2, which was a very long reload for a long time. And yeah, anytime you can reload faster is going to be a buff as well. So gun overall, buff, 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 buff. Just not to hack targets. All right, hack. Hack cast time reduced from 0.75 seconds to 0.65 seconds. Now, I don't know when it was 0.75 because I'm pretty sure when they went from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, it went from 0.65 to 0.75. But regardless, now it's at 0.65, which is what Overwatch 1 hack cast time was. So hacking things like Diva getting into mech is a lot easier. Any Genji Tracer that's trying to be annoying, you can get those hacks a lot easier now. Now cancel stealth when hacking an enemy hero. So now you have to commit to the hack. You know, instead of just running invis, hacking someone and hiding. And something I would do is like, I would hack someone and then translocate, knowing that they would shoot me to get me out of invis anyways. Granted, we can't do that now because of the whole translocator thing, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so now you have to come out of stealth when you start to hack somebody. But it's faster, so easier to get the hack off. Cooldown has increased from 4 to 6 seconds. Which, yeah, it's a long time, but also, like you said, you can't rehack somebody. It's not really the worst. And also, hack has a reduced cooldown of 3 seconds if hack is interrupted, or if a non-hero enemy is hacked. So right now, if you're hit, it goes on 4-second cooldown. But also, if you're hacking like a Torbjorn turret or a pylon or a health pack, so now it's 3 seconds. And the hacked warning text will now only appear while you are silenced and not for the remainder duration of the hack debuff. Which that would have been great at like the beginning of Overwatch 1 or Overwatch 2 rather, but I feel like a lot of people know. But it does give easier to like when you're playing against it to like, okay, I can use my abilities now. There's not this giant hack displayed on the screen. So her ultimate charge costs increased by 15%. And health percent damage decreased from 40% to 30%. Now listen, beginning of Overwatch 2, she had the whole nano Sombra thing where you could EMP and do 80%. Maybe that was the beta. I don't know. They might have got rid of it. I think they got rid of it for launch. So I don't know why we can't have nano Sombra doing, you know, massive damage. But the 30%, I'm not sure why they want to do that and increase the cost. But some of the damage you're going to be doing a little extra damage from her new ability, which we'll talk about in a second. So let's go on to the new stuff. Translocator can no longer be manually activated. Translocator will now automatically teleport Sombra after 0.25 seconds from being thrown or when impacting the environment. So no putting the translocator in a health pack. going in, shooting, translocating out. You got a 1. You got 0.25 seconds. Whatever the distance that translocator makes, that's how far you can go. Now, reduces the stealth passive cooldown after teleporting, and the projectile speed increase from 25 to 72. Essentially, it's going to go 3 times as far as the translocator right now. So it does go pretty far. So you can get away from people that don't have movement abilities, but against dive, it's not as easy to escape. Cooldown reduced from 6 seconds to 5 seconds. Cooldown now begins after Sombra teleports to the location of transponder. I think that's supposed to be translocator. And projectile launch initial vertical offset removed. Essentially, if you throw it straight up, you'll go far as well. The gravity just doesn't pull it as much. So useful to get to high ground. Useful to go back to your team. Like you can go in, invis, shoot them, go back to your team. Not as useful to just kind of do your own thing. So yeah, pretty big nerf to translocator. But we do have a new ability called Virus. And this is a new ability assigned to ability 1 by default. Fire projectile that damages an enemy over time. Damage is dealt faster on hacked enemies. Impact damage is 10, 20 on a hacked target. Damage over time, 100 over 4 seconds, 100 over 2 seconds on a hacked target. So you can either hack a target, shoot them, virus. You can hack, virus, shoot. You can virus, shoot. You don't have to hack them. But this is one of the reasons why I think the ultimate charge cost went up. Obviously, you can just sit with your team and throw these virus over and over again to just have some extra damage. So you're going to be getting your ult, I don't know about the same time, but about the same time, I would think, based on just getting 100 free damage over time, or every time you use it. You can also go in, EMP, and then virus somebody. And so if someone's at 200 HP, they take 30% of their health, which gets them down to 140. And then you put the virus on them, which then does 120 damage. And then you just have to shoot them or melee. And they're pretty much dead. So anybody alone, you can pretty much just, like if someone's truly alone and not getting any heals, you can just EMP, virus, melee, and walk away and they'll die. So yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, definitely have to mess around with that. Let me know what you guys think about it. Obviously the ways of this is, you know, translocator got nerfed, stealth got nerfed, which we're going to talk about in a second. And in exchange, you get this virus that does more damage, and we'll see how that kind of all washes out over time. Stealth ability rework to be a passive. Sombra automatically becomes invisible after 3.5 seconds while not shooting, using a damaging ability, or receiving damage. So I know a lot of people were concerned about being able to like backcap. You can just stay out of invis, and you can cap the point fine. In fact, I think there's a pause on the timer when you come out of stealth. If you're on the point, it'll like count down all the way to 0, but it won't put you in stealth unless you like move out of range or if you translocate. Stealth movement bonus reduced from 60% to 45%. So yeah, it's slower. Again, it's a passive. You have to think about the passive as it's not going to be as good. But yeah, so she's slower. Not the easiest to get into position for flank positions, or like just movement around the map in general. So that's obviously a nerf. But again, it's on a passive now. Her ability is now virus. Fade out duration into stealth reduced from 0.375 seconds to 0.25. So once stealth is off cooldown, even though we can't manually trigger it, we'll go into stealth very quickly. and fade in duration from stealth reduced to 0.5 seconds. So coming out of stealth to shoot somebody is faster as well. So you can come out of stealth faster with the damage from Overwatch 1 is actually pretty strong. You have the same hack cast time, and you can hack from stealth. So overall, you can be a little more of a threat when you come out of invis, because you can, if there's like a Widowmaker alone, you come out of invis, shoot her, throw the virus, hack her, or whatever. You don't even have to hack her, and she's gonna die very quickly. Now all this again, Opportunist is removed. That is the damage boost from the gun. So that's why it's moved from 7.5 to 8. And the being able to see targets half health through walls, which is big. Now granted, hack targets you could still see through walls. You just won't be able to see who's low, which is something that I really did enjoy about Sombra. I did really enjoy the Opportunist. I wish they would have leaned more into Opportunist. But they've gone more of the damage route, so that is where we're at. So playstyle wise, if the enemy team is dive, if they're, you know, the Winston, the Diva, the Tracer, Genji, you kind of just play more with your team, less flanky, which you don't really need to flank dive anyways. So you play more with your team, shoot out the virus, hack when they engage, and yeah, kind of just Sombra 76 it up. When they don't have dive, if they have people that are playing spread out, you know, things like Widowmaker or a Hanzo even, you can go find them and actually contest them. If they have a pocket healer, not as easy to kill naturally, but you can kill a support easier, but not as easy to escape. So you are committed more to the fight when you do go for it, but it's a lot easier to get the kills because you have extra 100 damage, 120 damage from the virus. So overall, she has different playstyles based on what the enemy team comp is running, based on what you're running. You can still play in the back line. It's just really risky. So not as much constant in the background line, not as much running back to the health pack over and over again. You could still, you know, kind of play back and then translocate to a health pack, but not as much. You should still be able to dodge Diva Bomb. The timing's just going to be different. The immortality, the iframes. So yeah, that's the new Sombra. I did get to play test this and give my feedback. So there were some changes that were made. And I'm hopeful that if it doesn't end up working out, if there's something, she's not strong enough, she's too slow, whatever, that the team will make some changes if need be. But I'm excited to play her on the ladder. I think, she's had changes in the past, and I've figured it out. It's not a big deal. You still can hack, you still can translocate, you still can stealth. Core parts are all there. They just added a new ability, and some of them were a little bit weaker, you know, but the core parts are still there, so I'm happy about that. I would have been sad if Translocator or Stealth were completely gone. And obviously they can't get rid of Hack, so I'm pretty happy with where it's kind of landed, and I'm excited to see how this will play out. So good luck on the 10th, and let me know if you guys have any questions.